So in this video, we're going to talk about loneliness and the loneliness epidemic that is going on so clearly in the world around us.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we talk about, the COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic, whatever the right word for that is. I think that contributed in a huge way to what we are describing as the loneliness epidemic now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the biggest problems that we face in the world around us. And to your point, I think we were probably heading that way anyway. People were starting to get their heads more into their technology anyway. But then it sort of accelerated that process where people were staying at home. And a lot of people haven't really come back out, metaphorically speaking. So
yeah, that's right. It taught us how to live without a community. Human beings, like a lot of animals, are social. We're social animals. We crave human interaction and we need it. And there's actually research out there that says that you will have a physical decline without that as a human and a social animal.
And look, I have to say, I've seen it in myself. I used to have a much more sort of out there, customer facing, field based role. I loved it. I would go into, I was a medical rep for many years and then sort of strategic account manager. And I absolutely I love getting up in the morning. Yeah. I'd go out, I'd go and see customers. And the other thing, I'd be physically active, right? So I'd be up and down stairs. I'd be walking corridors. I'd be seeing people. I'd be exercising those social muscles. COVID-19 hit and I wasn't going down to Sydney anymore. I wasn't going out to see people in hospitals and do all these sort of things. I just became this kind of inward keyboard warrior and only really getting my interactions on screen. And I've become flabbier, whether it's physically or socially, and finding it hard to come back into being who I was.
Yeah, and to your point, like I love that analogy of your physical and social interactions and flexing that and working that social muscle.
Yeah,
it is. You go to the gym every day and you do bench press and you get really strong at bench press, the same as you interact with people every day and you get really good at interacting with people socially. Take that away, you don't do it every day and it gets really hard. We've all been in that place where you're either at a party or a social activity and you're like, oh, I find it really hard to go out and talk to these people. They may be your best friends or they may just be acquaintance or colleagues. Like, how do I interject into that conversation?
Absolutely.
So you find yourself there with your beer or your Coke or your Smarties. You're like, oh, I'll just sit here by myself.
Yeah.
Or the cardinal sin, I'll get my phone out and I'll just scroll and that'll fulfill that social need, because that's what it is. It's a replacement for this.
It is, and I've done it myself. I've been there. Yeah, and it's quite hard for somebody who's been so extroverted for so long to then come back in and sort of, like you say, socialise. I'm kind of laughing because I do it, and I'll go on. I'll just check my phone, and then you kind of that becomes the focal point.
Yeah, and I particularly of late, sort of as we this business continues to grow, and you can't ignore social media and those sort of things to grow and get your word out and let the world into you.
True.
So we have to use that as a tool, but it very easily becomes you're hunting for likes or followers or friends.
Yeah.
And it's those dopamine responses that you get and you're like, oh, I got a friend request, accept. Yes, I've got another friend. Well, that's probably not a friend. It's someone that values you, yes, and you may value them. But are you having this social interaction with where you can look at them, you can read their body language, you can get that positive feedback when they give you eye contact and they smile at you, and you meet on a level that you will never ever get from AI or phone interactions or whatever that looks like.
Completely agree, and I think you're right in what you're saying. Social media, phones, all these things, they are one of the tools. They're a social tool. If you use them correctly and you can control your interactions with them rather than that controlling you, then you've probably got a healthy balance.
Yeah.
But we've all been there. Like, it swung the other way for me. Like, I remember I even had to go on a social media detox for a while because I was kind of looking too much. I was kind of, posting things and thinking, oh, I wonder who's liked it.
Yeah.
Actually doesn't replace some of that. And look, I've got a tip for people that are facing that.
I'll get the pen and paper out. I might need that.
Yeah, write it down. 5 top tips. But I think, look, I get a lot of like instant feedback from jiu-jitsu, right? And I'm not saying it's jiu-jitsu for everybody. It's the act of leaving my house and going off to do something with like-minded people and interacting face to face. Like you said, seeing the whites of people's eyes, seeing the smile, making people laugh, or, listening to what somebody's got going on. I do jiu-jitsu because I love the physical activity of it, but for me, it sometimes becomes more about the social element of it.
Yeah.
I get told off by my wife for being 20 minutes late. Why are you 20 minutes late back from the gym?
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. I was just involved in these conversations.
Yes. And you said then that you go because you like it. And the other people that are turning up go because they like it. Likes like.
Yeah.
So you like the sport, they like the sport, they probably like you. Therefore, you're building a social network.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's not going to be perfect and work like that every time. But my suggestion is, if you like chess, go and join a chess club, or go down to the park and play chess down there and talk to someone. Go and play soccer. Go and do a reading club or a walking club. Anything.
Yeah.
Increase your social circle and have those social interactions, and your physical and mental health will improve.
Yeah, but do the things that you like. And I think that's the important thing that you've mentioned here is, if you like reading, join a reading club. If you enjoy chess, if you enjoy walking, if you want to do rock climbing, I mean, figure out what it is that you like and then go off and do it with purpose. Yeah. And you'll probably find your tribe.
Yeah, and I guess we're both parents of young children. What do we do with them? We take them out and we give them a broad experience of a lot of different hobbies or sports or whatever. Some they'll go, I love this, I want to go back. And all of a sudden, if say it's a netball team, they've got 10 or 11 new girlfriends or boyfriends that they can play with. Yeah. And then that comes into, all right, Dad, can I have a play date with Sarah or Sally or Bob? Why don't we do that as adults? Yeah, yeah. It is true, isn't it? Like, the kids generally have taught me so much more actually about socializing and how to just be social than I've learned from any adult. Yeah, and I think that's a whole nother chat about what we can learn from our children, isn't it? I mean, I was recently writing, and the quote that sort of came to my mind is that I am a better person because of my son. He's not better because of me. We, as a general premise, the parent is teaching the child. I don't necessarily know how true that is. I think I'm getting taught a whole lot more from being a father. Yes, absolutely. Skills that they will never know that they've taught us. Yeah, until they've got their own kids. That's right. Your point there has kind of made me think a little bit about this piece about helping others as well, right? I think that's a really important part of the mix. Don't just go out there and think, what can I get from the world? It's like, what can I give to other people too? That thing about being of service, and I think, there are people out there that need help, whether it's, adopting somebody over for Christmas Day that's lonely, having them in your house, going out and helping the neighbor. I mean, I recently built a new fence. I haven't shut up about it for You're for right, days. You haven't. But the amount of people that came over and offered some help and support and held a post or, just did these things. And it was fantastic. I felt I got a buzz from as much from the social interactions as actually doing the job itself. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned Christmas. I mean, we all know my heavy military background. Quite often we'd be living in states where we're not where we grew up. So we don't have mothers, fathers, families. There's no big family Christmases. Right. But your family quickly becomes the people that you live in the same area of, that you work with. And quite often that looks like, and in my experience, mainly males living in an apartment in Sydney, away from all their families. They may or may not have a girlfriend. And who are they having Christmas with? So we would often, my wife and my son, we would have a lunch or a dinner, say, hey, all those sort of, call them the lost kids, all the lost kids, if you don't have somewhere to go for Christmas, come hang out with us. Be social, join our crew, let's enjoy it together, because it's kind of like the idea of success is better shared. Absolutely. It's the same theory, life is better shared. If you're just doing it along on your lonesome, then you're missing out on a lot of good and valuable stuff. Yeah, completely agree. Important to put it out there, important to be part of a community and not just kind of expect the community to come to you. Yeah. Build it. Yeah. If you build it, they will come.
Exactly right. Excellent.
Nice.
Thanks.